night, President Biden hosted a presidential town hall with CNN, and he's getting a lot of attention for comments that he made about Senators Sinema and Manchin in regards to their support of the Build Back Better Act. So let's first insert his comments about Senator Sinema. Take a look.
We've talked a lot about Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema. You seem relatively confident you can kind of get Senator Manchin on board. There's a lot of Democrats in the House and Senate who are confused about where Senator Sinema actually stands on things. And I know she's been negotiating directly with you and the White House. What is your read on her? And obviously, you need her to remain positive in your direction, so I don't know what you're going to say, but what is your read on her? Do you know where she stands?
First of all, she's smart as the devil, number one. Number two, she's very supportive of the environmental agenda in my legislation. Very supportive. She's supportive of almost all the things I mentioned relating to everything from family care to all those issues. Where she's not supportive is she says she will not raise a single penny in taxes on the corporate side and/or on wealthy people.
So, first of all, this is not the time for compliments. A negotiation is not the time to be kissing somebody's ass, quite frankly. And especially when Biden is almost acting as if these senators have the upper hand in the negotiation. And that's simply not true. And the reason that I say that, because you might say, Aaron, if he doesn't get their support, then the agenda can't pass at all. So they do have leverage. And I'm not saying that they don't have any leverage. Of course they do. That's why these negotiations are taking place to begin with. That's why having the narrowest majority possible in the Senate is so problematic and creates these kind of scenarios. However, when you're president of the United States, you hold a certain amount of power that nobody else holds. And that's just part of what comes with the office, the executive privilege. Many presidents before him have, flexed their muscles, so to speak, in these legislative areas. And it seems like Biden is just completely unwilling to do that and is sort of placating Senators Sinema and Manchin. And I have no idea, quite frankly, why. And the thing about politics and negotiation is that you have to be tough. You have to have a no-holds-barred approach at some point if you want to get anything done. And that's always been true. And somebody who a political commentator I really like here on YouTube, Kyle Kalinske, has made this point a few different times in his videos that if we were talking about FDR or LBJ, they would have acted like a mob boss in this situation and hit them where it hurts and basically force them into a deal, put them on the defensive, especially with Senator Manchin. His daughter was part of the EpiPen scandal where they illegitimately inflated prices by over 400% without any rationale. And she was the CEO of Mylan, the company at the time that makes EpiPen. Also lied about her credentials in order to even get that job. And it was caught on email basically saying, how do we justify raising prices so much and price gouging people? And if Biden was smart, he would use that as leverage and basically say, hey, I don't want to have to do this. But if you're not going to be on board, then I'm going to be forced to take this to the DOJ and your family's probably going to end up in prison. But if you are a team player and do the right thing, then I'll give you whatever you want. I'll name an air base after you. I'll give whoever needs a job in your circle, a position in my administration, whatever, right? And I really agree with his point on that And that's 100% what they would do. And that's 100% what Biden should do. He needs to play hardball here. Like, this isn't the time for making friends. I've always really liked and thought that one of President Biden's strengths, and I thought this back when he was a candidate, I thought one of his strengths was his ability to make friends and have so many connections with all of these different folks since he's been in Washington for literally like 50 or 60 years, longer than most of us have been alive. But I feel like this is almost backfiring because he's using this friendliness to placate people instead of playing politics, which is his job. And I think he needs some perspective in that, like, yeah, it's not fun to have to, like, I guess, play bad cop. I think it actually could be really fun if you're in, like, the power position of being president, but it's not always fun, and not everybody's going to like you. But at the end of the day, you have to have the perspective of what flexing your muscles and being uncomfortable is going to do for the American people. It's going to result in the creation of so many more clean energy jobs. It's going to result in universal child care. It's going to result in universal pre-K. It's going to result in universal community college, or funding for community college, although apparently that's off the table now, but it's going to result in lower prescription drug costs. It's going to result in Medicare covering hearing, vision, and dental. Like, these are real policy provisions that the American people need and will impact their lives and change their lives in tangible ways. And I think you have to think about all of those millions and millions of people who will feel the impact if you're able to get this deal done, versus having a senator or two with their feathers ruffled, right? Like, at some point, it doesn't really matter, and you have to weigh those costs, because the cost of to the American people that they will feel not having these important, like, common sense provisions is going to be massive. It's going to be massive versus pissing off a senator. You know what I mean? And I think that this is just not the time for compliments. Like, yeah, everybody knows Kristen Sinema is smart. I don't think that that's been any of the conversation or problematic observations about her conduct. It's never been about her intelligence. It's about her character and her complete lack of willingness to even do her job, quite frankly, as she won't even talk to her own constituents. All right, so now let's take a look at some of his comments about Senator Manchin, especially in regards to his disagreement over the climate change and clean energy provisions of the bill.
The concession has been, the negotiation is, I've been saying to Joe, look, I'll take, if we don't do it in terms of the electric grid piece, what we'll do is give me that $150 billion. I'm going to add it to be able to do other things that allow me to do things that don't directly affect the electric grid in the way that there's a penalty, but allow me to spend the money to set new technologies in place. For example, we can save significant amounts of money and, as a consequence of that, significant amounts of energy if, in fact, we are able to put the high-tension wires underground. It costs a hell of a lot more to do it. It creates real good jobs. It creates a hell of a lot more to do it. But, in fact, it would do a lot to keep things from happening that are dangerous. Half the forest fires out west are those towers coming down, setting fire, et cetera. So there's a lot of things. Joe is open to my convincing him that I can use it to increase environmental progress without it being that particular deal.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we got a lot more questions for President Biden.
So, just more dancing around, and it's so frustrating and exasperating, excuse me. So Joe Manchin doesn't give two fucks about coal jobs in West Virginia. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about how this is going to impact his constituents. Are you kidding me? The only reason that he's fighting against this is because he has a personal investment in the coal industry. He personally earns $500,000 per year from coal production himself. His son is the CEO of a coal energy company. He's personally invested in fossil fuels. He has a personal interest, which probably should be illegal, by the way. I don't know how the chair of the Energy Committee has stock in fossil fuels or any kind of energy to begin with, but he does. And this is about his own neck. This is about his own personal gain or interest. This isn't about West Virginians. Are you kidding me? Less than 10% of West Virginia jobs are even in the coal industry in general. So this isn't about like taking away jobs. And this has literally nothing to do with that. It's everything to do with him. And again, I don't know why President Biden doesn't connect those dots. He needs to be calling him out left, right, and center for this personal investment and the lack of transparency that he has in his arguments and for his constituents. He doesn't care about his constituents. He cares about himself. And I think that President Biden should be saying that. He should be putting this information out there so that people know the truth. You know, it's another day in Washington, I suppose. Will Build Back Better be passed at all? I am losing faith every day. So thanks so much for watching.